Come to us.
So let's continue on where we left off. What we saw in that video that I was making before got cut off thanks to the video software I was using, unfortunately. However, one of the things I was saying was, you see how the demon says, give over Marcus, come to us. And it's basically trying to get Marcus to join them on the dark side and join their celestial combat against God and the transcendent order. Those who are strong in faith are often people who are tempted the most with joining and doing things, joining the dark side, if you will, doing things that are contrary to the principles of light, and being on the side of what is right, what is correct, what is good, what is just. So the demon sees within Marcus this great faith, but also this great strength that comes within him, perhaps born of his own personality, born of his life experiences, but something perhaps that is even innate within him that will cause him to be a great ally if he were transformed into a servant of darkness. And so it is very important for the demon to try to mock God by changing things that are within God's design to their own design, transforming people who are on God's side to their side, so on and so forth. And I think you see this with Marcus, and the demon sees that Marcus could be a great ally, and someone that the demon actually is afraid of, if you really think about it. In a previous episode of the show, we did in fact see a possessed demoniac, an old woman. I think she was a transient, homeless woman who, when confronted with Marcus, called him the great Marcus, the one we feared, saying that he is not just someone who is known to this demon, but is known to other demons in their communication with one another as someone great in faith, great in strength in terms of his ability to summon the power of God to compel them to obey the will of God ultimately. Okay, so I think that this is something very important to understand about Marcus, and why the demon was so insistent about saying, "We want you with us," as it said earlier in the episode, and then saying in the earlier scene that we just saw, "Give over Marcus, come to us." So anyway, let's move on from there, because there's one last angle I want to talk about with chapter 5, and that is, of course, the revelation of Angela's real name.
Angela, is there something you need to tell me? You need to confess.
All right, I think that's enough of that one. So now we have seen from these couple of inclusions here, and of course from the prior scene, the opening scene of the story, where Henry is in the room with Casey, and she says, "Daddy, I have a secret, want to hear it?" Where she lures the demon, that is, lures him to sit by her side, and then she thereafter basically ropes him in, and speaks these demonic language in his ears, and then of course you see the black tongue come out of her mouth and all that other kind of stuff. This is where Henry first learns the secret that Angela has been holding back from him for all this time, and now he wants to know what in the bloody hell is going on. He's done some searching. He's found the Bible that her mom gave to her when she was still a young girl, and now it has revealed to him her real name, and it has revealed, the demon, I think that is, has revealed to Henry that Angela has encountered this problem, this manifestation of demonic possession before, in her own person, in her own life. And therefore, now that Henry has discovered these things, he wants to know what the heck is happening. He wants to know why his wife of all these years did not tell him about this issue, and why now that she has understood or gone through this, should I say, she has allowed her daughter, well, at least one of her daughters, perhaps even both of them, perhaps from Henry's perspective, to endure this conflict, and she has not informed him at all, how this occurred to her, why it occurred, why this happened to her, and why it is now happening to at least one of their children. If you were a spouse, you would probably feel, I would dare say, you would definitely feel the same way. And Henry is rightly disturbed by this, and he tells her she needs to confess, which she now begins to do with Father Tomas.
I reinvented myself, but it didn't matter. No matter what I did, I chose Angela. Angel. Like a name would protect me. Then I dreamed I could have a life, a chance. It didn't matter. It wasn't done with me. It's coming for me, Father. I know it. My name is Reagan McNeil.
Booyah! And here comes the other big revelation.
I'm Chris McNeil. I've come to see my daughter.
Booyah twice! So now we get the double whammy revelation that ties everything together that has happened so far in this story. Angela Rance, my God, is Reagan McNeil herself, the possessed child in the original Exorcist movie. And the woman who appears at the end is, in fact, her mother, the well-known former actress, Chris McNeil. Now we understand why all of this is happening. Now we understand why the demon says, "Bring her to me." It's talking about Angela/Reagan. Now we understand why Angela, at the very beginning of this series, was so insistent when she heard all of these things going on in her house, that there was a presence in her house. And now we understand why, when she began to see what she thought at first was her eldest daughter, Catherine, acting strangely, but then it transformed into her youngest daughter, Casey, behaving oddly and displaying odd kinds of abilities. Now we understand why she was so insistent that it was demonic possession, not insanity, not mental instability, not emotional distress, etc., etc., etc. Now we get it. Here it all is right before our eyes. And it's a perfect setup. It's a brilliant setup. One I quite honestly did not expect, but when I first saw this, my jaw dropped. I was floored. It is a brilliant connection to the original movie by the writing team to put this in here in a way that showcases this continuity between the movie and this series and puts us in this world with an absolute tapestry that is interwoven and interconnected with such fine and elegant detail. It is a very smooth transition. Now we understand everything that's going on. So in our next video, I'm going to get into chapter 6, Star of the Morning, and see where everything has taken us from this point. I want to talk about a number of different things, including Chris McNeil, the mother, coming back into her daughter's life at this point. I want to talk about Angela and Tomas and Marcus and what they have realized together thanks to Angela's revelation of her real name and her real connection to this whole demonic episode. I want to talk about Maria Walters, and I want to talk about a few other tidbits that were given to us in this in chapter 6, Star of the Morning. So until we meet again, this show is really shaping up. This show has really captured my attention, and I am loving it. So I hope you're enjoying it as much as I can. Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.